Gentlemen, we're all set for our next session. Our next panel discussion is going to be on the topic Innovations in Cooperative Banking Driving Sustainable Growth. To moderate this session, please help me in welcoming on stage Ms. Isha Oswal, Chief Executive Officer, JISA Softech. Let's have a huge round of applause for her, please. Ma'am, very warm welcome to you. I would now like to invite the speakers on stage. Please help me in welcoming on stage Shri Sumnesh Joshi, Deputy Director General, Joint Secretary level, Ministry of Communications, Government of India. So what an honor to have you. Let's have a huge round of applause, please. Please help me in welcoming Ms. Subbalakshmi Shirali, Managing Director and CEO, TJSB, Sahakari Bank Limited. Ma'am, very warm welcome. We have you with us, and let's give a huge round of applause for Mr. Jagdish Kashyap, Chief Executive Officer, Janata Sahakari Bank. And now I would like to invite on stage Mr. Mohan Tanksale, Strategic Consultant, Swift India Domestic Services. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have some energy in the room and give a big round of applause for this absolutely wonderful panel. Thank you so much. Thank you. Ma'am, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to actually, of course, thank JFF to give this opportunity to have such a great panel here and, speak on a topic which is really of a need today in cooperative banking. So as we today talk about, innovation and sustainability of growth in cooperative banks, there's a lot to talk about ESG, technology and growth. So I would like to request Joshi sir to give his overview on the same, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sorry, I think before even we start this, my bad. I think I want every one of you to give a small introduction about yourself and then we can move on to this session. So maybe ma'am, you can.
So good afternoon to everyone. I am Mrs. Subbalakshmi Shirali, Managing Director and CEO, TJSB Bank. I hail from the cooperative sector since the last 37 years I've been, and I have an exposure to work in all the areas of banking, including technology, risk, compliance, operations, and driving business. Cooperative banks are a very different area where we face a lot of competition from the new banks, especially small finance banks, the payment banks who have come in very new but definitely have a very competitive edge over the cooperative banks in terms of technology. But still, we are surviving and we still will do our best. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Sumnesh Joshi, Deputy Director General with the Ministry of Communications. And though I have worked in communication, but I worked in the founding team of the Aadhaar, so 13-year experience with that prestigious digital identity project. So where I got a chance to work closely with the entire Fintech system. So maybe we are going to discuss the same here. Thank you.
Very knowledgeable person.
Good afternoon. I am Mohan Tanksale, former banker, served through Union Bank of India, Financial Bank as ED, CMD Central Bank, and Chief Executive IBA. Indian Bank Association, and having been in these positions, very closely work with the cooperative sector as well as the fintech sector. And it would be a pleasure to interact with you all. Thank you.
He's our expert at ESG.
Hello. Good afternoon to everyone. I am Jagdish Kashyap, working as a CEO in Janata Sahakari Bank Limited, Pune. I was joined as a clerk in the bank and now working as a CEO in the bank. Thank you.
Great journey, sir.
So just to start, see, as the topic says, the innovation in the cooperative banking and sustainability. So see, before every expert will speak, see, I want to just share that, in our country, what we require, the ecosystem should be ready. Then only, we can make many products or we can innovate. So I can say with the proud that India a robust ecosystem in terms of technology, because cooperative banks, the footprint is primarily in the rural area, and earlier the issues was connectivity and people are not reaching and what is the reach of the banks. But through the cooperative bank and the technology, so now we have digital identity, 1.4 billion. Now we have 1.2 billion mobile connections, and of course the accounts are 1 billion with the 530 million accounts opened in the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, where the role of the cooperative bank is really, really important. Now, when ecosystem is ready and the connectivity is not only the connectivity, it's a with speed, high speed is also. So almost everywhere 4G connectivity is there. Now, how to innovate? So there are certain areas, when we like to have sustainable finance, and so primarily, the agriculture sector is where the cooperative bank, is working with the farmers and they have the reach. So they can use the technology to provide not only the bank account. Earlier, when we say the financial inclusion is the bank account, but this now bank account is not a financial inclusion. But I can say the many more financial product, maybe it's the loan or the insurance or for anything. So anything, or maybe the investments, because mutual fund also, still we have to tap the potential in the rural area, right? So that maybe the banks can work. So now GEM Trinity is there, so we have to reap the benefit of this GEM Trinity in the rural area. Now, data is, expanding day by day, because now smartphone reach is available. So many data is getting generated every day. Now, banks will also have the same data when they will offer many products and services. So, one has to ensure that security and the privacy of the data also. So, they should have the architecture in place. And already DPDP Act has been passed and rules are ready. Anytime government can announce that it's going to be implemented. So, one has to look from that framework, because cooperative bank has to take all, necessary action to ensure that their digital architecture in the bank is in compliance with the DPDP Act. And one more thing that the cooperative sector can work, because the Aadhaar payment bridge, everyone is aware that all the subsidies coming through the Aadhaar as a financial address. But still, there are banks which are not on the Aadhaar payment bridge platform. And then Aadhaar enabled payment system. See, they are opening the bank account, but still without Aadhaar authentication, there are other documents they are using. So still there are paper. So we want to have a paperless, presence-less and cashless. So Aadhaar is the solution for that. So they have to become a sub-KUA of the UIDI. So maybe many cooperative banks started in that direction, but to achieve the continuous sustainability in the ecosystem, right? We want a system where we can onboard immediately. Not for the opening of the bank account, any financial product we want to give, we can give a click-away service. Because, the technology, now there is no boundary between rural and urban. Now it's a digital divide is shrinking in our country, right? And everyone can work from everywhere. So every product should be available not only in the Mumbai, it should be in the Gadchiroli, any village of the Gadchiroli in the travel area, that also. So they require, maybe proper solutions. So they have to engage with the industry to put a proper hardware and the software in their bank. So, and again, many more things are coming. Internet of Things are coming. So how, and in agriculture sector, the role of IoT is very, very important, because cooperative banks are working with the farmers. So maybe they can think out of the box to serve the farmers, not only from the financial product, but to increase the productivity of those farmers also in that ecosystem. So initially, just I would like to say, and we should hear the other speakers, and then maybe later we will further discuss. Yeah.
Sure, sir. Thank you. I think you have touched upon a couple of things which we actually wanted to discuss during this session. So with this, I think to start with, I would talk about, RBI's commitment, which is being really aligned to certain global initiatives like responsible banking, or we talk about the financials, inclusive financials, or sustainable finance. So these are the things which are very crucial right now, and keeping that in mind, there is ESG is also been one of the important topics. So how do you, I would like to ask Shirali ma'am, that how do you define this ESG from a cooperative bank perspective, and how do you see that implementation, that ESG criteria has been implemented in cooperative banking?
See, sustainability in cooperative banks is going to be a very, very key area where sustainability built up with ESG is going to be the most critical part. So there are four major things that cooperative banks need to do. Number one, they need to evolve their strategies, especially looking at the green revolution and the green economy that we are looking at, okay? Which means that working out on strategies on green finance, working out on strategies on green deposits, working out on various strategies which will help grow as well as sustain themselves. The second most important area is investment in technology. While we all understand there are a lot of constraints for cooperative banks in terms of technology, but moving the environmental way, cooperative banks would have to move to moving something to a SaaS model, especially consolidation in terms of virtualization adaptation, coming to a green revolution where you can try and see whether you really need to have so many branches and so many servers, moving to a digital revolution, trying to get your customers to move to a digital banking mode, and also reduce the carbon emission. Because at the end of the day, today we all know the economy is moving towards so much for global warming. Environment plays a very, very key role in deciding your strategy for your bank. The third key area is the risk and the compliance framework. Slightly, we will all accept that cooperative banks are a little difficult yet to accept the compliance framework, especially the risk, the cybersecurity, and the total overall compliance framework. There's a lot needs to be done in the cooperative sector with respects to risk, especially and also in terms of cybersecurity. We've seen the threats in the recent past, and adaptation to technology and putting the requisite cybersecurity measures is going to be the most important thing. And the other aspect comes is to your customers and your stakeholders. Okay, your stakeholders being your employees and your customers being whoever is already banking with you. The need to actually generate so much of paper and going towards a paperless banking is what you need to encourage your customers to get into. Similarly, the staff also needs to go towards a paperless type of an approach, going digital, trying to have workflows into the system so that you don't have to have so much of use of paper. So considering all these things only, we can move to a sustainable banking so that the ESG aspect is also, that is the environment, social as well as governance aspect is taken care of.
Sure, thank you, ma'am. I think there's a lot to do with technology by default, which is coming in what we talk. But I think we have an expert here whom we actually have limited time. Otherwise, we can have a lot of insights from Tanksale sir, who would talk more about ESG, how it's been implemented, or probably what are the ways we should look at ESG implementation, irrespective of, I think, I just not cooperative bank, but more on that.
Thank you, Isha. I would like to bring the attention of the audience first. If you all there in the first day address of Governor Reserve Bank, he proposed that the policy priorities of the future for India's financial system would be digital financial inclusion, digital public infrastructure, consumer protection and cyber security, sustainable finance and global integration. Now here, why I thought it is very essential for me to mention that when we look at the cooperative sector as an opportunity, there is a lot that the fintech ecosystem really could contribute. And what is that the cooperative sector should adopt on the ESG side? I'd like to bring out two important documents. One is that the Indian Bank Association has brought out a document on voluntary guidelines on the responsible finance, which covers all the SDGs. I'm sure you all know what are the sustainable development goals which are being talked about globally. And those are all basically to address the sustainability issues. And these guidelines are addressed to see that the banks take care of the in-house responsibility towards the ESG, and they also ensure that their customers are also made to respect and comply with the ESG authority. Here I would like to say that the fintech world has a lot to contribute by creating some kind of tech-based checks and balances. We can create some kind of good credit rating model on the ESGs, where I will give a small example. I mean, if there is an industry with about 1,000 labor and it's producing, say, plastic, I think they have got a lot of responsibility to see that the waste management is properly done. Of course, they all have pollution control board approvals, but post that approval is good for me as a banker to lend. But post lending, how do I monitor that they are compliant to what they are committed to? One. Secondly, they have got a labor. When you talk of a social, we all have responsibility to see that the labor is taken care of, compliant to all the labor laws which are prevailing in the country. I think we as a lender, we as a banker, I'm saying we because I have been in the banking industry for more than 4 decades. We have a lot of responsibility and I will expect that the cooperative bank should take care of it. To add to that, the Reserve Bank of India also brought out the discussion paper on responsible finance and climate risk. Now, when we talk of the climate risk, essentially we all, let me be very honest, do not give too much cognizance to what is likely to happen. But all of us know that how we suffer when there are floods, how we suffer when there are no rains. I mean, there could be so many climatic impacts which happen on the industry, and ultimately if the industry is affected, who is affected? It's me as a banker who is affected. I don't get my payments, my accounts become non-performing assets, and thus as a banker, I think I have a lot of responsibility to see that it's not only me who takes care of that. In my bank I go paperless, digital, everything. But what happens to my borrower? My stakeholders' money. That money is not yours, that money is depositors' money. I'm a trustee of that money. And thus it is very essential that cooperative sector, who is virtually a competitor and is in the competition with the whether public sector, private sector, payment bank, small finance bank. I don't think cooperative sector is behind anybody. And they have adopted the technology at its best. What is required is that the various opportunities of applying the technology for ESG compliances.
Right, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. So as expected, of course, you would have out of the box view and you would talk about something which is, going to add value to us. So when we talk about a lot of regulations which are coming in picture, whether it's ESG or any other regulation which have been, guided by RBI, IBA, there's a continuous requirement of collaboration with technology, because if we talk or we do not talk or we talk about any topic, I think technology is being a part of it. So I would like to understand from Kashyap sir also, how do you define this technology or any kind of innovation in terms of technology which should be adopted by cooperative bank, or you have any examples which you have implemented in your, in your bank? I've heard a lot, so you can just tell the audience also.
Thank you, ma'am. Already Janata Sahakari Bank has implemented too much all of digital products which NPCI is launching. Our bank was, and bank is in frontline leader for NPCI's all projects as a pilot. Nowadays, we are going to introduce AI-based bot services to our customer, as well as that, sir rightly said that GST waste credit analysis is our new product we are going to launch with our vendor, and which is most of the business are come now is under GST. So it will help to us and it reduce the papers. ESG considerations are taken into it, and we are going to more forward for this product which are cover all ESG points in banking. Thank you.
Great. So actually, when we were talking offline, I think that's what sir mentioned, that NPCI's each product or any pilot thing also, it's been done by Janata Sahakari Bank, and they have taken a lot of digitization, all the practices or new projects they implement. So that's an amazing thing. But definitely I would like
Isha, I just wanted to add, there are 5
sure.
principles of responsible finance which all of us in the ecosystem should understand. One is the ethical conduct and respect for the environment and social. Second is the integration of the ESG risk management and business activities. That is the most important part where you all can play a role. Minimizing environmental footprint, internal operations as well as external, and environment-friendly products and services. And
Yeah.
the last is enabling inclusive human and social development.
Great, sir.
On these principles, basically the responsible finance proceeds.
So I think what you mentioned is product and services. So continuing in that, that's what I was going to ask Shirali ma'am, that what kind of, any kind of innovation, technological product or service that you have implemented or you want to talk about?
Yeah, there was a very unique thing that we've done, which I'd like to tell everyone, to reduce carbon emission, okay? All of us use air conditioners in the ATM rooms, okay? There were a young set of IITians who came forward and they've created a unique artificial intelligence which reduces the consumption of the air conditioning. It has a program which has been built to reduce the usage of the air conditioning, and of course it helps in reducing the overall carbon emission. Second, I feel moving towards a paperless community, we also did something called a digital board meeting where we decided that we're not going to be circulating any paper to any of the, for any of our meetings. So what happens is, anyone wants to read anything, you have to use a digital, meeting way where you avoid the use of paper. The other most important area which we are trying to do is use of artificial intelligence for various other aspects like data analytics, as well as we are trying to do data analytics as well as for understanding customer usage patterns, etc. Because all these areas which will give us a cutting edge where we can use technology extensively, because this is what is the industry doing, we're probably where we are lacking today.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, ma'am. I think just looking at the time, we would just have one of our question just given to sir. So, Joshi sir, actually we would just want to know, one is ma'am touch upon the data. So probably anything around data protection. And in line with it, of course, a word of advice you want to give to overall, audience and cooperative banks.
Yeah, see, as one part that is we have to go complete digital, so that we have to use, so the paper we can avoid. So this is easily, we can help in the sustainability. So for that, my recommendation is that cooperative bank has to adopt in an expeditious manner the digital public good infrastructure. It's not only the opening of the bank account, everything, account aggregator, language translations, the Bhashini or the e-sign or DG locker. So maybe all the products they can offer, in a digital fashion. It's just online and single click away. So that cooperative banks can work more on that, where government is always ready to support them in any fashion. And then from DPDP Act, of course, one has to, I again repeat that is the need of the hour, that we have to ensure the compliance of this. And now other thing is that, as Tanksale has mentioned, that when we give the green finance, how to monitor it. So for that also the use of the technology like Internet of Things. Suppose we have given the loan to the industry that, okay, you have to keep the emission under certain threshold, but how to monitor? So if some sensors are there, so the data keep coming and then you can watch on that, depending upon that. Maybe one can think about many innovative products that, my interest rate is also very depending upon what type of parameters are coming from that industry or manufacturing industry or from area. So, call is that we should innovate using whatever infrastructure is available in terms of the technology, connectivity, and ensure that everyone will contribute to the economy from the rural part. So we want the support from the cooperative banks to go deeper into the inroads in our country, because our India lives there. Thank you.
That's right, absolutely. I think that's what we were discussing.
We are going to monitoring this type of project when we are financing any ethanol project. How much plantation he has done in his factory. This is the one type of monitoring. If he has done 100 and more plants in his factory, then we will give him a concession in case of rate of interest.
Okay, so
That's a great thing, that the use of the drone, right? So in the agriculture sector, cooperative sector, all can come together and, innovate more.
yeah, and he actually talks about a lot of ideas around, going into rural areas and making these things happen.
Just like to
Sure,
add
sir.
two more points to what Joshi ji said. I think it's very, very important that the fintech world supports the cooperative sector in creating good risk management tools, particularly using the data science for the credit due diligence on an ongoing basis. I am of a firm belief that as a lender, I am a partner in the business, and thus I am obliged to monitor my lending on an ongoing basis to see that the quality is maintained. And all industries or all lending is exposed to transition risk and climate risk. So unless I develop a good tools to see that these are monitored on an ongoing basis, I don't think that I am justifying. One. Second point is that today I think the name is Cooperative Bank, but Cooperative Bank would like to have the customer all the products and services what one could have with the other banks. It means you'll have to develop all kind of products and services, improve customer centricity so that the customer remains with you for all their requirements. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Actually, of course, there's a lot which we can definitely wants to hear from you, each one of you. But with this time, I think we'll have to conclude this session. And with this, I think there's one more thing which we have is a product launch. And if I may request all of you to be available here only, probably on the stage, I want to request. Okay, the product launch is about one of the area which is again a part where cooperative banks would look forward to have. It's about HSM, right? Hardware security module, and major use cases around payment HSM, which is there. So JISA Softech, of course, I represent JISA Softech, and we are launching payment HSM today. But about the product, I would invite our founder director, Mr. Rumit Shah, to come on stage, please, and just give us a small introduction about the product, and post which we can have the launch in the presence of, our panel.
Thank you, Isha. Thank you, everyone. And I am actually glad that Sumnesh sir is here on this product launch. He's been our mentor, and he's been around this, so I am glad to have this way. What is payment HSM? Everybody is aware about payment HSM. So we are the first one to introduce right now the Made in India payment HSM. That's what we are doing it. So we are actually bringing across. And payment HSM is actually used across for payment industry and banking industry for securing the PINs, securing the transactions and those activities. We are launching the first HSM which would have a multi-tenancy in that, so that you will be able to run a multi-tenant payment infrastructure in that, as well as also run the general purpose requirement, which is about encryption, data protection and those lines. So those is the key areas which we have done across on this, and we can have the launch.
It's all digital, right? So since it's all digital, our launch has also been made digital by GFF.
5,
so we can
4,
have this.
3, 2, 1. Presenting India's first made in India payment HSM.